On automatic.
My name is Kathy Lang. It's January the 10th, 2003. We're in Waynesville, Ohio to interview Ted Ottesen. Ted, tell us where you were born and when.
Born in Chicago, Illinois, Cook County, Illinois, and August the 6th, 1928. And went to school and graduated from high school in Chicago. And then went in the Marine Corps, so I was a second generation in the Marine Corps. My dad was the first. And I joined in 1946 and took my training at Parris Island. And then from Parris Island, they fanned us out to different bases. I was at the U.S. Mine Depot in Yorktown, Virginia for a while. And then from there I went to Treasure Island, and then from Treasure Island to the Hawaiian Islands, and then from the Hawaiian Islands to Johnston Island, Kwajalein, Guam, Okinawa, and the final destination was China, Tientsin, China.
Now this was after World War II? Was the war over when you went
It was pretty much, there was a few pockets in there, but the main thing we were over there is trying to help the nationalists, which was sort of a losing cause.
So you were trying to help the Chinese nationalists that fight the communists. And that's why you were sent to China. Okay.
And they chose the wrong side. And basically we secured, our compound and protected our property, which in the evening we had problems with infiltrators. I think probably some of them might have been communist orientated. And then periodically we would have, I guess you would call it like a firefight with the, maybe a communist patrol or something like that.
Because they wanted to get the Americans out. They weren't interested in having you guys there.
No. Since we were patronizing the nationalists, Chiang Kai-shek. Mao Zedong was the communist leader. They called them Balus, which means bandits. But eventually the bandits took over China. And then, every once in a while, they'd shoot up one of our vehicles or so forth like that. And whenever we went on sort of like an R&R, like that one time we went to Laoshan, and I happened to go along with a couple other guys as the security patrol. And we didn't run into anything there, but just in case. And from there we participated in our, normal duties in China. We're trying to maintain a good relationship with them. And until 1949, when they took over the whole area. Of course, we were the last group to leave. We left on, I think, latter part of January. It's been a whole trip going through the Pacific. I think we hit every typhoon in the Pacific.
So you were in China from 46 to 49. What were the conditions like in China for the Chinese people?
They weren't the best. No, they weren't the best. And there was a lot of hunger there. I mean, there was a couple of fellows and I, we used to, take food out to, especially to the kids, out in those pictures I showed you. We take food out to them and provide them something to eat. They were tickled to death to have something to eat. And I I think that was the whole thing with the Chinese government. The top echelon got all they needed, but the regular people didn't get anything.
And that was the same before and after the Chinese took over? I mean, the communists took over?
Well, I was gone after that. But they, I guess, reading about it in the paper, they had their purges with different people. You went Mao's way or the other way, out.
So you guys were trying to offer support for the nationalists.
Yeah,
who were there
support
as
the nationalists. They would turn over equipment and everything, you know, to the nationalist army, and it was just wasted. It was just wasted material that they'd. I guess it was supposed to go to the army, but some of the higher echelons got the money and whatever they needed from the relief from the United States.
Now, you were in a transport group,
Yeah, motor transport.
and you guys were responsible for taking care of the motorized vehicles?
Motorized vehicles, transporting troops, and of course we had the infantry that did the guard duty around, you know, our equipment, because they'd come in there at night and strip the vehicles.
The Chinese would? They'd steal?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
nationals or the communists?
I would say the communists probably getting parts, you know, for their vehicles that they took away from the nationalists. And I guess they used our area there for a supply depot. Some of them were a little unfortunate. The guards nailed them on there, but they still kept coming. They nailed one, and two more will show up.
Yes, they needed those parts.
Yeah, for the Jeeps and the trucks. We had the 6x6 trucks and the Jeeps, and that was our main vehicles over there.
And you waterproofed vehicles.
Yeah, we were in the beginning of waterproofing the vehicles, putting all that goop around the engine, the electrical components like the spark plugs and the distributor cap, and then you had to put a pipe in there for the intake and a pipe for the exhaust. And we played around with that for, I guess, about a year. But now they've got it pretty well equipped now that you don't have to put that goop on it.
So were you over there when the war officially ended?
We were the last troops to leave.
No, I mean in World War II.
Yeah. Yeah, we on there. Some, oh, there was a few stragglers there, but it was pretty well taken care of when I got over there. On there, the only thing every once in a while, you know, we'd be out in the area there, see if they're hiding some of the equipment in these different caves they had out in the hill in there. In this one cave, I went in there, and I guess the Japanese put these mortar fuses in there, and they set them up, you know, like that. And then if you take them out, they explode. But I guess they were sitting there too long; they got damp. But I come out there, hey guys, what's this? Everybody ran.
Well, good thing they were wet.
Yeah, I'd probably been minus a hand or two.
So tell us about your other job as a boxer.
Well, the reason why I got into boxing, to condition myself. I mean, we do our calisthenics, but after calisthenics, the Marine great pastime was drinking beer. And of course, I still enjoyed my beer, but I decided, well, I get in there and keep myself in pretty good shape, and I started training. I had a Lieutenant Bell train me at the time, and there was about 3 of us guys in there. The other 2 guys dropped out, and I stayed in there, and I boxed the whole time I was in China, and I came back to Camp Pendleton, and then we used to go out on different tournaments.
And this was the official Marine boxing team?
Oh yeah, in Camp Pendleton on there, and you had your own quarters, and you had your trainers, and you had specific diets to go on too. And I was sort of on a borderline with that 147. Didn't take much to put on a couple of pounds and sort of feel like a rabbit eating all the lettuce and carrots and stuff.
Were there any perks? I mean, did you get special privileges for being a boxer?
No, as a matter of fact, I had a CEO in motor transport was anti-jock. And I used to wonder why no promotions came in. And he said that there wasn't anybody qualified to get promoted. And our vehicles were never broken down. They were always on the road, and due to my responsibility.
So you felt like that, the real reason was he didn't appreciate the athletics?
Yeah, you have some people they're not jocks. And I guess they figure the jocks are nothing but a bunch of show-offs. But no, we took care of ourselves and trained. I used to get up every morning and 5 o'clock in the morning and run my 10 miles. Rain or shine or snow.
What was the weather and the world like there in China? Was it like home? Was it like another world?
No. Of course, you had your hot period in the summertime, but in the northern part of China, it got pretty cold there. As a matter of fact, I remember one time, I don't know whether the heating unit went out, but we didn't have any hot water to take a shower. So we held off for about a couple of weeks, and then we got to a point we couldn't stand ourselves. Then we went in there, and it wasn't too bad. After a while, your system gets used to that cold water, even though the wind and snow was blowing in through the windows.
And what about, like, were the people friendly? Were they?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it, because the whole time I was over there, I went to school at Laoshan University and studied the Chinese language. I learned more in the 2 years working with the Chinese than did 4 years of Spanish. And they do everything possible to help you. And then, but your dialect changes from one village to the next on that. But I really enjoyed it. As a matter of fact, I got to a point, the guys used to have me go with them to what they call black market area and jibber jabber or haggle for price. And so I'd get in there and talk to them. As a matter of fact, I started to write it. But you have to keep at it. You have to keep at it.
So you didn't feel a culture shock at all. You adapted well from being a
oh yeah, it was really interesting.
From Ohio, you go all the way to China and just really took to it.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I took a liking to the Chinese people. They were helpful. Of course, when you get in combat situations like we did with the nationalists and the communists, of course, since we were assisting the nationalists, and we were the communist enemy. And every now and then we would get caught in a firefight.
Well, were the people really pro-communist or nationalist, or they didn't really care or pay much attention?
Personally, I don't think they cared. Basically, what they really wanted something to eat. They were more concerned, to their self-being than anything else.
So this was a fight between the leadership, the
Basically.
top level of society. The average Chinese person was not really involved.
No.
So you didn't have to worry about them.
sneaking up on you, civilians.
Well, you have your same problems over there as you do here. You have gangs or put it on crooks. I mean, some of them will go out of their way. They roll you. You heard that terminology. You go out in a drunk and you get rolled, and you come back with nothing. And they do that once in a while. But ordinarily, I never had any problems with it. Except one time, I had dinner at a Chinese family's house, and I was coming through the black market area, and a couple of those guys out there grabbed me on the wrist to see if I had a watch. Well, I had a watch, and I told the girl, I said, I'm going to have to start running. I said, I'll see you later on. And so I started running, and they started to run after me, and I said, I'm going to play a game with these guys, because I was in tip-top shape. So I'd run a little while, and I'd slow down a little bit. Then I'd run a little bit, and then finally the guy said, the hell with it. Too fast for me.
It wasn't that good of a watch, huh?
No. There was about 3 of them that was coming after me. But I didn't want to take any chances. But overall, they were pretty nice people there. I can't really complain about it. And,
Most of your time was spent in China, but you did visit Guam, Okinawa, some other places. The same thing you felt? Were you there long enough to really get a feel for?
well, not too much in Okinawa or Guam. I think we were there about, I would say maybe a week or so.
Those places had really been hit hard.
Yeah. Well, as a matter of fact, we had a Marine get killed by one of those Japanese that was held up in that island.
It was still hiding out.
Yeah. And he decided to go out for a walk in the woods. He never came back.
They say that there was a guy held up there for like 25 years.
Yeah.
Was that Guam?
Wow, yeah.
And refused to believe that the Japanese would have ever surrendered, so he just continued to hide.
Well, that's the Bushido Code. They don't surrender.
So the Chinese, did they really have too much of a battle with the Japanese when all this was going on, or that was really the islands that took the impact of the Japanese?
Well, China, while they were battling China's time, it was in 37 when they started.
Burma.
Yeah. Nanking and Peking and an area like here. And, as a matter of fact, I just read that book about what they call a rape in Nanking.
Yeah.
And that was really vicious.
So they were all pretty sick of this war, weren't they?
Oh, yeah. What they call that? The Malthusian theory. It keeps the population in check through sickness, famine, and wars.
I guess we had plenty of those 3.
Yeah, and they're trying to start another one.
So now you left China in 1949.
Yeah.
You come home then?
I went to Camp Pendleton, and I stayed there, and of course I continued boxing in the different communities there. And then in 1950, first part of June of 1950, I had 60 days of terminal leave. So I took the terminal leave and was getting myself set up for school, and I think it was the 20th of June when the North Koreans went over the 38th parallel, and the outfit I was with, it was a medical outfit, H&S Medical.
What's a medical outfit like?
Doctors and corpsmen.
Corpsmen.
And in between my boxing, my part-time job was an ambulance driver. And that outfit was one of the first groups to go over there. And it might have been a godsend or that, because they had 85% casualties.
And
May
you-
not have been here today.
But you didn't have to go back?
Well, they notified everybody through the television and radio that their leave was canceled, and we had to go to Great Lakes. And from Great Lakes, I shipped out to Camp Pendleton again. And as a matter of fact, when I went out to Camp Pendleton the first night there, I woke up at 3 o'clock and said, "Hey, where are we going?" They said, "Korea." I said, "Hell, I just got here." And I said, "Where you?" They asked me where I was supposed to go, and I said, "The 155 Artillery." So he said, "Well, that's out 10 Cam 3. And so I went out there, and we went through our training program and everything out there. And Christmas that year in 1950, Christmas Eve, we were all called in back from our leaves and started boarding ship on San Diego. They had all the equipment and everything aboard, and they just decided to cancel it.
Canceled it
Yeah,
for everybody?
in that division.
So at that time you were released?
No, I stayed in there, and then they transferred me to the 3rd Marines, which happened to be Chesty Puller's outfit. I don't know if you knew Chesty Puller or
The
not.
most decorated Marine, right?
Right.
Still today?
Yeah, he was my CO there.
And what was that group called? 3rd Marines, is that what
Third,
you
yeah,
said?
third. What was it, 3rd Marine Division, or I didn't stay there too long because I was getting ready to get out.
So you got to get out even though there was another conflict going on. Sometimes they won't let you get out.
Yeah, I told him, I said, if you keep me another year, you're going to keep me for 20 years.
So they said you can go.
Go, yeah,
So at that time, 1950, you were released.
yeah.
Did you get to go to?
No, that was 51.
But you
'Cause
didn't have to.
they extended us for another year.
But you didn't have to go to Korea.
No, I lucked out twice. Actually, 3 times. The guy could have said, "Hey, shut up, just pack your stuff and go."
Well, I know the Marines got hit hard in Korea.
Yeah, that outfit I was with, they really got nailed, that medical battalion.
It's too bad. So you lost a lot of your comrades.
Yeah, and some of the guys, I don't know what they came back, and I guess they transferred them to different outfits. But as a matter of fact, I showed you the picture of that one kid there. He got nailed up there, trying to get up and behind a rock up there, and the damn machine gun followed him up.
So after you were released, did you go to school on the GI Bill?
Yeah.
Did you ever box again?
I was going to box over at the, I was out in California because my wife was still a Navy nurse. And I went to school there for a year, and then we had our little daughter, and then we decided to go back home.
Now tell me about when you were exposed to radiation.
On Kwajalein Island. And they had a delay there. First, when we flew in there, I got pictures of all the ships, you know, around the lagoon there. And then we landed at Kwajalein, and they had a delay over there, I guess, until explosion was completed. And then we flew out and took pictures again, and there was only one ship floating. I don't know what it is. I'd have to find that film and find it out there. But of course, they didn't have any record of it. As a matter of fact, they didn't even have record of on that printout that the guy at the VA showed me about anything in '47.
But you felt like you got health damage from that.
That's what I asked the doctor. I said, how could that affect me 50 years later? He said, well, your body goes through different changes, and it weakens, and it kicks in.
So you had radiation exposure from a bomb that was set off by the Americans. They were testing.
Yeah.
Fallout or whatever they call it.
Radiation.
Mhm.
Yeah, radiation fallout.
Anybody else in your group have that problem that you know of?
Not that I know of, because, as a matter of fact, the only guy that I know, and that was over there with me, he's out in Mason, yeah, lives out in Mason. But he hadn't had any problems. And then there's a friend of mine, he's down in Florida, and he hadn't had any problems, he hadn't told me about any problems.
Besides the ships, was it like utter devastation on that island after the bomb went off?
There just weren't any ships except that one.
So they set it off underwater.
Underwater.
So it destroyed all the ships. It
Yeah.
didn't exactly wipe out the whole island.
No,
Right.
no, the island's still there. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think I saw some film on that it showed, that great mushroom explosion, and it's just sort of like a whole big tube of water. And I said, man, is that what they did when we were down there? Of course, they don't have any record of it on that.
Well, now we do.
Yeah. Of course, they don't have any record. And one of these days, the kids will find them. I told them, I said, you find those pictures, you're entitled to a claim on that. So I'll keep hunting. Maybe one of these days it'll turn up.
So you had yourself a little camera and you took a lot of pictures.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, they had one of those Ansco cameras. That's the first one they made after the war. That was a good camera. As a matter of fact, I think I still got that. It's almost 60 years old.
So what did you think of the Marine Corps?
I think it's great. I think everybody should spend at least 2 years in the military. Whether, the preferences of the Marine Corps, I was sort of gung-ho with the Marine Corps because my dad was in the Corps and the reputation they had. And
Is it true that they're all real gung-ho, go-get-'em type of guys?
oh yeah, you might not be when you first go in there, but you are when you get out. You either make it or you don't make it.
A lot of people don't make it.
That's right.
So they're looking for a certain personality type.
Yeah.
Must run in your family, right?
I guess so.
Was your dad a gung-ho Marine type of guy?
He was a dedicated guy. I mean, whatever he did, he was dedicated. And that's what you call Semper Fi.
And now you had a daughter who was a Marine?
Yeah, she was, well, you're a Marine till you die.
I was just going to say that. I shouldn't have said was. Is a Marine. And now you have 2 boys that are talking.
Talking about going into it. And I had an older son that was in it, and he was in the Marine Air Wing.
So you got a lot of Marines in your family. And you think it's a good experience for people, and you felt like you were treated well by the Marine Corps?
I think so, yeah.
Sounds like they gave you a lot of chance to develop yourself with your boxing, your education, lots of training. Sounds like, they gave you a lot of opportunities.
Anything you want to do, you can do. Whenever we got near base, well, like Camp Pendleton, they had a junior college. I used to go to take 1 or 2 classes over the junior college. I took courses through the Marine Corps Institute and just get educated. Try to get educated anyway. But I don't regret it. Matter of fact, I'm able now, I'd go in myself.
So you are still a Marine, and you don't regret that experience
No,
at
I
all?
don't regret that. As a matter of fact, I'm proud of it.
Well, that's good, you should be. Would you have anything else you'd like to tell the Americans about your experience or just your feelings in general about that time in your life?
I think it was educational, and it helped me, you know, through different jobs that I've gone into, and sort of developing into an aggressive person, not an obnoxious aggressive person, but a real aggressive person. And like I say, I think every American, either male or female, should spend at least 2 years in the military.
So they never had to send you to knitting school, huh?
No, I didn't get that bad. But I'll tell you what. One thing, you're talking about different things happen. I can see why these guys in the combat field get decorated with this Medal of Honor. Now, when I was boxing, and it's almost difficult to tell you, is you go sort of have that killer instinct. And I had that, and with one bout that I had, and I literally knocked the guy out of the ring, put him away for about 30 minutes. And it's a powerful feeling that you get, and something you read about these guys. Of course, most of them don't live through it, but I think that's what happens to them. And I've had it happen to me a few times while I was just training with my different boxing buddies, and it'd kick in on me, and it's an awesome feeling.
Do you think that's what the quality that the Marines are looking for? And that's what makes those Marines get that reputation of being fearless and warriors?
That's right. That's pounded into you.
And there is a difference between a soldier and a warrior. And I think that at some point, what you're talking about kicks in for some people, and then they become a warrior.
Yeah.
And you saw that, and that's what you're talking about.
I experienced it myself. On that, only it was on a sport level, but it can kick in a combat level.
And then sometimes they have a hard time making the step back into.
As a matter of fact, it was a main concern on my part when I got married and when I disciplined my kids, that I might go too far.
And that explains why the Marine Corps made some guys go to knitting school.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to give them the transition back.
Some of them do, some of them don't.
From a warrior back to just a man.
A normal life.
And some people have a hard time taking a step that way and also back.
Yeah.
So you got to experience that. Very interesting.
But no, you'd be surprised that the only thing that you think about is killing that other guy.
Do you think Chesty Puller was a guy like that?
Yes. He was a good, gung-ho, decorated, well-decorated Marine, and I've read, different books about him. He should have qualified for the Medal of Honor.
I thought he did.
Huh?
All
No,
those medals he
Silver
had,
Stars.
he didn't get a Medal of Honor?
No, he's got
I thought he
the next thing to a Medal of Honor, I think, what's it, Silver Star or something like that. On that, but I think he had how would you put it? Politics in the military,
No.
and
So he was more than just a warrior.
yeah. No, he was interested in his men.
Well, that's good.
Interested in his men. He tried to keep casualties down to the minimum. But if you have to go, you go.
Well, I can see you make a great Marine.
I thought I was, or am.
Well, thank you for your service to our country.
Okay, I do it again.
Anybody, any questions? Joe?
I think it was well done.
Yeah.